Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Canada Hoops. It's your boy Maddie. Thank you for your continued support. Please continue to download, like, and share us. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're talking about Canada versus Australia today at the 2024 Paris Olympics, with Canada winning 93 to 83. They're 2-0 in the tournament. Look to be really in control of the group, and our longtime friend and X.com Canada basketball senior writer, insider, our man Scott Witter joins us. Scott, appreciate you coming back, man.
Maddie, thanks for having me as always.
Yeah, it's a cool time, man. Like what a great start to this tournament, and all the attention to the team and the program, and it almost seems surreal. I know for myself, just kind of watching this game today against Australia is like, okay, this feels like the program is where it needs to be, and a team that you can count on to produce and get wins and provide some excitement, obviously. And just give me your thoughts, man. We're up 2-0 in the group, and in this
Yeah.
tournament, and really look to be one of the better teams at the Olympics.
Yeah. Well, it's always nice. It's a sense of calm and confidence when you have the best player on the floor.
Right.
And we might have that in almost every game that we play or close to it. It's just like I said, just the ball in his hands. It's like he almost can do no wrong. So it's just like I said. I see SJ out the. Obviously, I had a panic attack early on when after a minute and a half he was out of the game with two quick fouls.
Yeah.
Um, but it was really that was kind of confidence inspiring seeing the team hold it together without him and to see Andrew Nemhard. I didn't really shoot very well, but he really I think held down the fort with SGA out in terms of ball handling, defense. There's a sense of kind of calmness and control with him as well. People don't really seem to speed him up or get him kind of playing too fast. He seems really under control. So it's that's a huge piece to me that was missing with the World Cup team, and maybe that is the most important ad here. And we can talk about the other important ad here in a little bit, but just Andrew, just if we had the same team as last year, what is that? Is that Trey filling in there, or Phil Scrub, or Nikhil?
Right.
So, somebody's going to have to get into that role. But having Andrew there really kept us in that first half. And I have to say, like Australia was on fire. Gidde was he seemed like he could do no wrong in that first half. I was really, concerned and worried that this is a really, really tough team, Australia, and they are. But it was a little bit of a tale of two halves. I think Canada kind of came out and figured out how to game plan for him a little bit better, and maybe they were just on a really hot streak. Everybody was hitting their shots in the first half with Australia. Canada was as well. We kept with them. I think we were down by 4 at the half and did an amazing
Right.
job to keep with like a red hot Australia team in that first half. They looked like a really strong medal contender, and then calmed down a little bit in the second half. They weren't bad, but continued. Canada continued its strong play, and I think got us Australia a little bit more under control. But it was just that's an amazing game to watch. And I think Australia was. Yeah, I don't know. We considered them a little bit of a tier two team coming into this. No, that's a tier one team. That's a medal contending team. They look like they're humming, have all the right pieces, and are playing really well. So this is a huge win today for Canada.
Yeah, well said. And I thought, like, I was nervous too, bro. Like when Shake out there the two early fouls, I'm like, what is going on here? And but the ability of this team, and this group to weather that, obviously the addition of Andrew Nemhard speaks for itself, and that was a guy that, everyone that follows this program was touting as, hey, a must add, and people with the program and Rowan Barrett and Jordy Fernandez, they recognize that, and this is a moment where it paid off dividends, right? And
Yeah,
they did weather it that first quarter. They made Canada made 5 threes in that first quarter to stay with it, and they were only down by 2 with Shea not playing the rest of that quarter. So,
yeah,
um, this this is a team. Like that's what
Oh,
I love about this group is just like, as good as they were last summer, the improvement now with the additions just feels like such a good unit, out there. And um, I liked, once Shea got in the game, we saw more of the three guard lineup that a lot of us wanted to see with him, Jamal Murray, and Andrew Nemhard. That was cool to see more focus on that. Jamal had, a decent amount of minutes, went over, I thought, probably what they wanted to try to play him today.
yeah.
But he was effective. Like I think he was 2 for 7, but had 5 assists. Great defensive plays there that came up with a couple nice plays. He seemed a little quicker in his step too, I thought. And I know post game he had a little bit of an interview that was kind of floating around on X there, and it was just like he says he feels good. He's just more focused on the team, and
uh,
he said if I wasn't here, the team would still be moving forward. Um, so I think that's kind of the first conversation piece he's kind of put out there, and I think that shows some maturity where he's like, we're trying to win for our country here, and I'll do whatever it takes. But they, and in that second half too, like I love just Jordy recognized they needed to increase the ball pressure and pick it up defensively, and that's been their calling card, and that third quarter was impressive. What did you think about you know same starter group, which maybe raised some questions initially with Lou and Dylan. But listen, um, the two best defensive players,
uh,
combined for 26 points. Their plus minus is incredible. Just give me your thoughts on Lou and Dylan, just really on both ends, and maybe specifically with today in Australia.
yeah. I love that starting five, and I have a kind of a little bit of a different perspective on Murray, which we'll get into in a second here. But um, just Lou and Dylan are just elite defensive players that cause so much havoc here. Lou is on 11 points today. Hit his open shots, but he was a demon on defense. There
Yeah,
was, I think it was in the third quarter where he just stripped the ball right out of Giddy's hands and ran the court and dunked. And I don't know how many other guys are going to do that. It, and they're generating enough offense. Dylan Brooks was 16 points. He was 5 for 9 from the field, hit I think 2 threes, hit both his free throws. That's great. He's a good secondary offensive guy. Lou Dort as well. As long as they're hitting kind of their open shots like that, those are the guys that should be there. I'm still skeptical on Jamal. I liked what happened here. He actually played 24 minutes, which was starter level minutes. I don't think any starter
yeah,
had more than 26 minutes. And then Jamal 24 off the bench and Andrew Nemhard 23 off the bench. And I thought it was a pretty shaky first half for Jamal. He's missing open shots. He's taking his very high degree of difficulty shots, closely guarded step back threes. And he's not there, and he's not in that condition, I think, to make those shots. And it looked like he was being hunted on defense. It looked like Australia was just kind of playing the switches, and then when they got Jamal, it was in attack mode. So I was kind of sitting there in that first half going, man, he's not even close to where he should be. And I'm kind of sitting there going, he's kind of hurting this team. And why is he getting so many minutes? I think he played through it. Maybe that's Jordy's intent here is like you got to get Jamal those minutes and get him comfortable and get him in a rhythm, because like I said before, I don't think this is a gold medal team without Jamal kind of firing on all cylinders. I mean, it's probably a silver medal team or a bronze medal team, but we're not taking down the United States or whoever else you'd meet in the gold medal, because they'd be humming as well, unless you have both SGA and Jamal Murray, I think, leading the team and firing. And Jamal's just not there right now. So maybe those 24 minutes were, Jordy saying, hey, you need these. Let's get, and he wasn't playing terrible in the second half. There was, there was good ball movement. I think he ended up with 5 assists. He was rebounding well. Still wasn't hitting his shots. I think there was one in the fourth that was a nice shot, but I'm kind of okay with what happened, even though I was kind of pretty down on him again in the first half. But I wasn't live tweeting because I would have probably said something stupid about him in the first half. Um, and I'm hopeful. Hopefully he can kind of work himself into some semblance of the Jamal Murray we know, because he'd be extremely valuable out there. He did look like he finished the game there, like he was getting the bulk of those minutes in the fourth quarter. And we'll see what happens. I don't know if this is going to disrupt the starting lineup. I kind of like it the way it is, and that's a pretty nice weapon to kind of come off the bench and alleviate some pressure off of SGA, and if he's feeling it, finishing in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think the Jamal narrative storyline is. I just wanted to ask you about it for the sake of the podcast and the episode, but I mean, I feel like it's fading, and it's not so much like an important topic or it's one that needs to be hashed. I kind of want people to get away from it and maybe stop dogging him. I thought he was effective and contributed in other ways today, and even if it's just
Yeah.
even if it's just getting those 24 minutes because Shea was in foul trouble and Jamal had some nice defensive plays as well and was looking for guys and it is clear that he's not at his best, but I thought he was better today. Um, so we'll see. I think this is a game plan and a scheme that the team and the staff are looking at to ramp him up. Where you get to the knockout stage where it's like, okay, let this guy loose. We got to talk about RJ Barrett, bro. Awesome
Yeah.
today. Let the team
This,
can. So suited for FIBA. Just let's show him his love because I know, like, um, Shea was 16 points today for Shea. Like Shea's shots always looked, everything he was doing was so dramatic, but
yeah.
RJ was
Yeah.
just killing it end to end, man. Just give me your thoughts on RJ Barrett.
I, maybe it's me. I don't know if you see it this way. I don't know if he's like the silent assassin. It's like you don't
Yeah,
necessarily notice him out there. Maybe it's not the ball in his hands all the time, like SGA, or maybe it's not the fantastic. But it just, when you need points, he's getting it. He's finishing plays. He's just there over and over again, and making plays, making the right passes, rebounding, playing great defense. Ended up with 24 points today on 8 of 14 shooting. Three pointers, 3 for 6 from three, 5 assists, 2 steals. He was just everywhere. But it's almost like he's not that like dominating player like SGA or even Giddy today. So it's just every time I look at the box score, I'm like, RJ did what? That's like
right.
fantastic. So he's just playing amazing right now, and it's just a joy to watch him out there.
Yeah, and he's thriving in this role where he's off ball, like he's just allowed
Yeah,
to have some freedom and drive and penetrate and catch and shoot, make a shot. He's just thriving in this so well, and I just like that. He's come on, and I think the personal side of it with his dad being on the last team to be in the Olympics for the men for Canada basketball, wearing his dad's number, like he's just hungry for this. You can just tell, and that's
yeah,
just cool to see it from a guy that's a pro and represent for his country where a little thing like that matters. And
hmm
he is the first player since his dad to have 20 plus points in his first two Olympic games for
nice.
Canada basketball. So that's a cool stat. And it just I love this for him. And the team's going to need him, man. They're on I think on Hoop Hype on X there. He's leading the MVP race for the tournament so far. So
Ah,
he's been really good, to
yeah,
set them up. And um, I wanted to ask you about, the Kem Birch minutes. There was definitely more of an emphasis to get him in, especially in the second half,
yeah,
over Trey Lyles or Kelly Olynyk. Kelly hardly played. Just I
yeah.
thought Kem was awesome, really effective in his role, and a great bounce back. What do you think about Kem Birch?
Yeah, I think it was for what you awesome in the sense of like what you expect or what you're hoping for from your effectively 11th man.
Yeah,
and maybe he's moving up the rotation, but I think he got 6 points, a couple rebounds. He was there to kind of play some little bit tougher D on Jock Londell, who's kind of pushing some of our bigs around a little bit. I'll take a sidestep and say Dwight Powell was his usual awesome self, just high
Yeah.
energy, just active. I know he's not the greatest rim protector or post defender, but I'm kind of thinking to myself, it's just like, why is Dwight Powell, who a lot of people kind of rip on, and the Dallas Mav fans are just all over. Why is he getting 26 minutes and Kelly Olynyk's getting 5? Kelly has been like just an amazing FIBA player in the past, and he's just kind of doesn't have a role with this team. It's just relegated. It's maybe the mobility and the speed on defense, and Jordy's kind of switch heavy schemes that have Dwight out there. Dwight had 9 rebounds, 5 offensive boards tonight,
Yeah.
2 steals. He's all over the place, and he's very helpful to the team. Kelly, I just don't see where he fits, which is unfortunate because he's easily able to produce, a 20 and 10 game in FIBA. We've seen it over and over again in the past. And I'm going to ask you about this. Is it the defense? Is it just not a role for him offensively, just because of the guards and the wings that we have here? He doesn't need to initiate. Maybe that's not the type of player SGA really plays with. Maybe if just this is almost crazy to say, but in some ways, Kelly Olynyk's a little bit of a joker light in FIBA. Would a Murray dominated team see a role for Kelly Olynyk more? I don't know, and that's kind of my big question on this team, especially with how limited we are with our bigs. To see really nothing out of Kelly, not much out of Trey Lyles, a little bit of minutes from Trey Lyles, and we're now relying on heavier minutes from Kem Birch over those two. That's surprising to me, and a little bit concerning, I think, because we've had some concerns coming into this tournament around our big rotation.
I thought, just to kind of touch on the Kelly thing, like, I think the matchup today dictated a little bit more of that. And I know in the second, like, just listen, Kelly defensively, the movement and the quickness just isn't there really. So
Yeah.
they made an emphasis to really in the second half with their adjustment, because they had put Lou on Giddy in the second half, and because initially that was Dylan in the first half, right? And so Lou in the
Yeah.
second half, and
Yeah.
they were switching everything defensively, and I think some of the bigs are just a little too quick for Kelly, and with Dwight being as effective, like everyone always kind of dumping on him, like, man, the guy's like been really good for Canada basketball, and we know he's a warrior, and I feel like it was hard to kind of get Dwight off the floor as much as he was.
Well,
He was just
so
good.
Dwight's established his role with this team, right? So we know that they're just effective defensively. He's the starter. He was at the World Cup, but to see an additional 5 minutes from Kelly, and it's not like Trey Lyles got a ton, but 7 minutes, Kem Birch 8 minutes. I'm surprised some of those minutes are not going to Kelly. And like I said, I just is it matchups today, or is there just really no or a limited role for Kelly on this team? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And I thought like some of the, when they got paint penetration off the dribble, like our wings and guards, like Dwight and Cam did a really good job on the baseline, just kind of moving along and getting easy dump passes. So not that Kelly can't do that, but I just feel like the mobility is a little better. So I mean, hey, we're all Kelly fans. I mean, we want to see more minutes for him, and he always has been an effective FIBA player. I just don't know. Maybe they're trying to get away from the little high post dribble handoff stuff. I thought, in the second half there was a little more because Canada held Australia. I think it was 34 points in the second half. A little more turnovers generated, so there's a little more transition. Just maybe not a situation Kelly fits into, right? So
Yeah.
And I think my point with Cam, like Dwight and Kem combined for 13 points, 11 rebounds. If that's what you're getting out of them as a combo, I think that's pretty good. And I think, just my point with Kem was like being an addition to this team and, part of the original core, but now just looking healthy. Like, um, I feel dumb for thinking that, initially Kyle Alexander was a better add or uh, spot on this team than Cam. And now, from what I'm
Yeah,
seeing out of Cam Birch, and not having seen him play a lot in the last year and a bit, um, I'm glad he's there because I think for his
yeah,
role, just a rim runner, and he's physical. He
yeah,
looks pretty bouncy. Like he would that lob that who threw the lob to him there? I think it was Jamal,
yeah.
right?
It was
Anyway,
RJ. I thought
yeah,
RJ
sorry, it
threw
was
it.
RJ. Yeah, because he thought RJ was going to go up and try to hammer it, and then
Yeah,
he
he
threw
didn't
the lob.
finish it.
Cam just going rim to rim, and just
He's
kind of
there.
miss a lay in, right? So I
Yeah,
just kind of like his spot on his team if you're going to bring him in for a little minutes insurance to keep Dwight fresh because Dwight led the team in minutes today, man.
yeah,
So that's saying
yeah.
something. Um, what did you think about like we touched on it, but Jordy made I thought Jordy made an impact today just with adjustments at half, and he talked about it in an interview too, and recognizing to ramp things up and um, maybe switching everything and just putting Lou on. But I thought there was moments last summer in the World Cup that Jordy clearly demonstrated why he was a good hire and a great hire for this
Yeah,
program. And I
yeah,
thought from a coaching standpoint, Jordy made an impact today. If you want to just if you have any thoughts on that.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't have much to say beyond what you said there. He's obviously a high level coach. He's making adjustments. You hear him in the timeouts, making adjustments. There's a certainly an air of confidence with him. He's obviously the guys are all bought in. They respect him. You know, he's got this team humming. He's got some kind of pieces that he has to work in and figure out. And there's certainly some flaws to this team and some massive strengths. And I think he's maximizing the strengths and doing his best to kind of minimize the weaknesses and flaws. And you're kind of seeing that out there. So very happy with him as a hire.
So Canada has Spain on Friday. Last game in the group. Spain beat Greece today. Um, wondering what you think about that matchup, just in terms of Spain always being like a top team and a world power, but with the team they have there in Paris, what are your thoughts on the next matchup, man?
Um, Kind of, these are all very very good teams where all the games can kind of go either way. Canada played a excellent game today to get the win, and they needed that to get the win against Australia. A I don't know if a good game would have done it for Canada. So it's going to be the same thing with Spain. They've got the weapons. They're a very cohesive and high chemistry team. They get a little bit from everybody on that team. There's no Giannis to worry about, but they've got some good solid NBA caliber players. Just a couple that are current NBA players, but obviously a bunch that are recent NBA players and great experience. They've I think one of the weaknesses on that team last year was at the point guard, and they've got Lorenzo Brown there, who's one of the best point guards in the EuroLeague. So that I think he got 10 assists today. That's plugs a huge hole and is a big advantage for them. And they're pretty big up front. So I'm sure Canada is going to be favored here, and the Vegas odds are are pointing towards Canada. But again, this one could go either way. I think we've put ourselves in an excellent position here, where we probably I haven't gone through the standings and looked at different scenarios, but we probably pool out no matter what at this stage. We're looking at a pretty decent What are we like, plus 14, plus 17 in plus minus. Spain's kind of -5, so they'd have to pretty much blow us out by over 20 points to kind of get ahead of
Right.
us. Australia is at +2, so they would need a pretty emphatic win as well. But those games can kind of go either way. So I think it could get ugly. I haven't checked in the other pools where the third place, but I think the third place teams in the other pools right now are kind of pretty far in the negative point zone. Maybe not, but I
Well,
think
just
Japan's at
before we jumped on, France had to go to overtime to beat Japan.
yeah.
It
Well,
was
they
a
went to
close game.
overtime, eh? Oh man.
Yeah, Japan was hanging
Um,
in there. So
well, they got blown
France
out by
did.
Germany though, so they're still pretty far in the negative there. I think they're negative 24 points right now. So we'll see. I think you still could get in a weird situation with a three-way tie here, and there's a chance you could end up third, but I think we're in the pole position right now. And a lot of things still have to happen there, right? Spain would have to beat us, and Australia's got to beat Greece. Then you'd have three teams at 2-1. So that would come down to the point differential. I think we're in the best spot for that right now. So I can't see us getting blown out by 20 by Spain, right? I don't know.
No, I mean, I agree. I think, listen, like, they just seem to be kind of recognizing improvement that needs to happen, and I think this was the biggest test in the group, in my opinion, today. So it was nice to kind of get that one out of the way in their second game, and um, you know, the team looked strong, and
Yeah.
I'm trusting in what they're doing, and um, that's a really fun and cool thing to be able to say, where the senior men's national team is playing well at the Olympics for the first time in 24 years, man. So that's pretty neat. Shout out to women. The 3x3 women got their first win right after the men played today. They played Australia as well. They looked really strong, and of course, Catherine, Michelle, and Paige have joined us here on Canada Hoops, so we appreciate that, and make sure we support everyone with Canada basketball at the Olympics, man. Anything else you want to add, Scott?
What other sports are you watching there, Maddie? What's your household tuning into?
Man, you know what? Like, just with work and some of the scheduling, like, I have not really watched a lot of other sports. I've been really on the hoops, obviously. Um, checked out. Well, I did watch the women's soccer a little bit against France there after the
Yeah. Yeah.
controversy. So I'm trying to catch more of the sports, and I know that the women's rugby is in the final. I think that's on right now. The women's sevens
Oh,
rugby.
is it?
So the
Okay.
Canadian women made the final. Bit of an upset. They upset Australia. It was Canada kicking Australia's ass today at the Paris
Nice.
Olympics. That's
Nice.
what it was. All right, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate this always, man. Always great to chat with you.
All right, Maddie. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I want to thank Scott Witter for pulling up. Thank you for listening. Remember to rate and review us wherever you get your podcast. We will see you on the next episode.